What's up, everybody? Patrick from WP Builder Helper, and in today's lesson I'm going to work with Qubely, which is one of the tools that I bought on AppSuma. I talked about it on my Black Friday deal, which I mentioned earlier during this week. So, point being, I wanted to take and work with it. This is going to be a short video as I'm not going to be doing anything really that hectic. It's essentially just me kind of playing with Qubely, and I'm going to be kind of talking through it. And once I hit a certain point, I'm going to stop, and maybe I'll make it into a 2-3 part series as I go through it. But it's me learning the builder. So if you're not somebody who wants to learn the builder, or maybe you have questions about it, then it'll be interesting to you. And if you're somebody who doesn't care about Qubely or care about Gutenberg, then you can probably skip this video altogether. Anyway, I hope you learned something, and let's get started. Here we are inside of my WordPress dashboard, and as you'll see when we go to installed programs, this is going to be just Qubely advanced blocks. I had Bloxy in here. I'll deactivate this because I don't think I'm going to use Bloxy. I was going to use it, and then I decided, I always do Bloxy, and I'm sure people get tired of that, so I decided to move to Cadence. I'd never used Cadence, so for me it was one of those things where I was like, let me see if I could do something with Cadence. I think that would be a pretty decent idea, so that's what I'm going to take and I'm going to do. I'm going to jump in Cadence, and I'm going to kind of, see if I can work my way around this. So the first problem I noticed when I was using Qubely is that when I go to any page, at least any new page, it's got this gray background. I'm 90% sure that that's a Cadence thing. If I had to look at it and I had to preview on a tab, you can kind of see that it's here. And it's just it looks like an entry-level wrapper, if I'm right, which inherits it takes part of the obviously part of the background from. It takes like a font family. It's got a default padding. It's got all of that. So I'm going to have to go in and kind of change that because I don't want this. I want it to be completely white. So I'm going to go in and kind of look at that and see what I can do, where I can find this background, because it's got to be in here somewhere. Maybe page layout, and we go to design and breadcrumbs, meta, site background. There's that, and we're going to choose white. I should already set up a white color. I don't know why I don't have a white color set up, but that's white nevertheless. And content background, maybe it's content background because it doesn't look like, yep, I think it's content background because that's white there. But then it's got like a shadow on it. Like, I don't know if this is a shadow just because it's the content, but it's got a really, really weird shadow. And I don't see, maybe unboxed, nope, it doesn't. Oh wait, unboxed fixes that. Okay, cool. So that's kind of what we want. We want like essentially a blank canvas to kind of work with. That's essentially what we want. And for the title, I've turned off page titles to take and kind of go through that. But for the header, for the logo, I'm just going to select this for now, just so that I could have that, just something. And we could call this. Well, it doesn't matter. We could leave it as Qubely, and that's all I'm going to go for. I'm not going to go into the navigation, the logo, and all that, because right now I'm more interested in playing with Qubely than actually messing with Cadence. And I thought that I'd fix this, and yet on here I'm kind of seeing that I didn't. Let me go back, because I thought whenever I picked the page layout, I thought that it removed the unboxed portion of it. It did. That's weird. So did I not save it? Let me publish that. Let me go back. Let me exit out of that. Okay, is that just a caching thing? Why is this showing? Why does this have a shadow? That's really, really weird. I hate when stuff like this has like shadows in it and it doesn't tell you exactly where that's at, like that And that bothers the hell out of me. Just because it's just annoying. Like, it's an annoying setting. And I'm sure it's somewhere in the customizer, but God, why do you have to default to that? Like, what is the reason behind that? Because I don't see that anywhere in the design. At least for the page layout. Let's go to something else. Like, let's go to general. And let's turn this off. And let's go to layout. Maybe it's in layout. Single post box shadow. So obviously that's a single post. But that's for posts. That's not for pages. Archive grid shadow. Can we just turn this off? Can we set it as 0? 0 for everything? I don't necessarily want shadows or spreads or any crap like that. That'll be the easiest way to turn that off. Oh, look, there it is. So it's single post boxed. So apparently it's, there we go. I think that solved the issue. Yes. So completely blank page, header, footer. Let's go to edit page. Now we should be working good because now we can kind of, do what we need to do. So it's going to show this home because obviously that's the way Gutenberg works. Go with the default setup. And then for the Qubely box, I wanted to import a layout. I was thinking about importing the layout just because it makes everything faster and you can kind of go in. But there wasn't anything that I wanted to use. So rather than import a layout, actually I kind of like the way this food truck looks. At least the header. The header's kind of neat the way that looks. Because if we're designing something, like let's make a pet shopper essentially, and then let's see what we got here. So this is a service page, this is an about page, this is a gallery page. My biggest issue with these, and I'll show you on the import, so let's import this. Let's just say yes, we'll use the global stylings for now. Just because I'll just use whatever they have. My biggest issue with this is when you start diving into this, there's a lot of custom CSS put into this, and that kind of bothers me because if you're using custom CSS to do things, then essentially there's stuff that Qubely can't do, and that's just one of my pet peeves with Qubely. Let's update this. Let's preview it. Let's look at it in another tab. Okay, and we can clearly see that this is set up kind of the way I want it. It's using an ugly color because I think it's using the ugly colors that I picked for the page. So let's go back and change that. Let's change the colors, which I believe is in general, and no, it's not using these colors. That's funny. So it's definitely not using that. But we'll switch it to this anyway. And for the header, I want to take it, I want to kind of change it up a little bit. Like I want to go to the header and I want to make it a transparent header. Enable transparent header. So this is supposed to be transparent. The logo different than transparent. Enable transparent header. So that's a bit weird. Transparent header really doesn't even move up. I'd have to see, once again, I'd have to play with Cadence, and I'm not really here to play with Cadence. I'm more here to play with Qubely and see what I can do. So let's just dive into this and let's see what kind of thing we want to do, what kind of thing we want to build. I like that you have this, so it looks like this is just one big image with an auto height set to it, boxed, and it's set to the middle. It's got a decent background type, and then it looks like it has a block at the bottom. But you can see the white kind of showing through. I don't know if that's intentional or not, and I didn't see when I did the preview real quick, did that work that way? No, it actually shows correctly, but on Gutenberg it does not, which is beautimous. I love when Gutenberg, okay, wait, why is this doubled? Did it accidentally double it? It looks like it did. I love when Gutenberg kind of clicks when it does something funky like that. So it looks like it doubled this for some reason. So I'm going to have to go down to the bottom, get to the very bottom of this, and I'm going to have to delete the rest of this, which is going to be a pain. Yet another issue with Gutenberg, in my humble opinion, is that you have to physically go and remove blocks like this. Like, I'm sure that there's an easier way to do it, but Gutenberg's got a ways to go in my eyes. That's just my take on it. But, you know, every person's different. I'm sure the people who made this would probably beg to differ, and they'd probably say Gutenberg's a fine builder, but to me, it's just not intuitive. Like, for this to get to the level of like Squarespace or Wix, WordPress has a long way to go, because it's just, like I said, it's not intuitive. So let's look at this. Okay, it's got some padding at the bottom. Does it have animation? No animation, no advanced classes to it. And then what is this in the middle? This is just an image. So that's an image, and it's got custom width built into it. That's pretty cool. It's got standard transparency, so it's a transparent image on top of the already background, and it doesn't have z index or anything like that. So basically, this is a background image, and then this is an image inside of that background, which is set to alignment of the middle. And as you can see, you can kind of change that to set it to whatever. Then at the bottom here, we have a divider of some sort, shape divider, and it looks like it's a bottom shape divider. Although for some reason it's not showing me the shape. That's a bit strange. Group. Let's edit that. I think I just screwed that up. Let's go back to here. So is this grouped with this? It looks like it isn't grouped with this. I don't understand why the bottom of this is the shape divider at the bottom? I don't think it is. See, now that's weird. Why did they put the shape divider here? I'm curious. Like, why would you put the shape divider there? Like, why wouldn't you attach it to the bottom of this image so that it kind of flows a little bit better? So, for instance, like this. Let me see if I can even find what shape divider this is. They have got a ton of shape dividers in this. But let's just say this. Let's just take this as a shape divider, and then we turn it whatever color this is. We'll use this to basically find out which color it is. And it's just straight E. So we'll set this to E. Okay. So that shape divider's there, which then makes me wonder, like, why do you have this? Like, remove that block. You see? And then let's switch to draft, and then let's preview it and see why did they set that up? Yeah, see, that works much better. I don't understand why they added a row, and then, like, why didn't they just attach the shape divider to the very, I don't get that. Why did they attach the shape divider to there? And then really, in all honesty, this doesn't match the background of this, which, that looks terrible. The fact that you've got this and then it goes into that, I don't like that at all. So let's go into this. Let's look at the background, and let's set the background of this, which E. Once again, learning this, so don't get mad at me. And then we'll update this, preview. Let's look at it again. Okay, yeah, you see how that's a little bit more fluid? Like, even though this doesn't match this, and really, in all honesty, I would just set the background to E. I don't know why it's got this pattern on it, like why they think that looks good. I guess because it looks better than the flat. But to me, if you're going to do that, then you need to somehow make this shape divider fit with this background, because it does not look good. So that's just my take. You're totally free to make your own assessments. But if I were giving this to a customer, I would not take and put that kind of background on it, because I don't like it. I think it looks bad. Like, I don't know if they meant to do that. I'm not exactly sure what the purpose of that is, but it's just not my favorite. So it's definitely, one of those things. You can make your own decision. And of course, if I had the color set up, you would not have to worry about this. As a matter of fact, if I wanted to, I could go in and set up the colors, but because this is more of a quick scenario type thing where I'm just kind of playing with stuff, I'm not doing that. I'm just building out a page because, like I said, this is just an overview, essentially. Well, I call it an overview, but an overview to me, I don't ever play with the actual builder. So this is me playing with the builder and kind of going into a page, a very basic page, kind of changing things around, seeing what kind of stuff I learned from changing them. Like, one of the things I'm learning right now is that don't really like the way this is laid out. I don't like the way it keeps adding these white spaces. Like, that's, once again, another problem of Gutenberg, in my humble opinion. You can feel free to say otherwise, but I don't like the fact that Gutenberg, in the general scheme of things, add these spaces, and for some reason they're not in everything. Like, I don't get that. So it's just weird. Let's go to Qubely. Let's go into the theme. Okay, so these are theme colors. So if we set it to this, we can activate. Oh, sweet. Did it just switch the theme colors? I think it did. Yes, it did. That is awesome. So I like that. That's a part of Qubely where it will take the colors that I picked from Cadence and it will switch them over. So for instance, if I picked other colors, it would take those colors too. So let's preview this again. Let's look at this. And now I'm definitely liking this way more. Some people say that the background doesn't look probably as good as it did before. But to me, I don't think that's the case. I'm pretty happy with this. I think this looks much better than having that constant color change. I just didn't like that color change. As a matter of fact, what I would do is I would actually go in and I would kind of play with this. I'd probably turn this white in most cases, and then, because I find that white is, everybody does everything in white though, which is a bit annoying in the design world, because you don't want everything to be white. It just makes all your pages look plain. But you could find a good color to kind of build off of and then come from here. I think these bows are a little bit weird too. Are they just images? They are. Okay, remove that. I don't like that. It's just not my favorite. The bows are just a little bit weird. I don't find a need for them. And then there's also like some weird padding on here. So there's a padding for this, and then there's a padding for this. So let's go into the settings. Let's take the top out. Let's leave it, because this has already got 100 pixels, which is also a bit weird. Don't like that either. Let's set that to 0. I think that makes the padding a little bit better on here. The padding on here looks fine. It's 52, and the bottom is something else, 20. I'm not a big fan of that. Let's make even padding. Let's try and make your padding. If you're going to stick with padding, try and make it as even as possible. So for instance, they have 60 and 50 here. So let's just stay with 50 then, if we're going to do that. This whole entire row is garbage because it's just a separator block, and I don't like it. Even though I know why they did it, I don't like it. So for instance, let's take this row. I want to do something with this row. Let's change the background. Let's go into it. Let's add it a blue. Let's go into this. Let's make this, how do we change the actual color of this? Heading, we want to do a white, and the text we want to do, which is the subheading, we want to do a gray. No, that doesn't look very good. let's play with that. Let's make it like that. So that's not exactly the same color. And then there's like there's a separator margin, which I just saw that was in there. Let's see what that's about. Style, separator, select, line. Oh, so you can kind of have a line in it. Pin filled, zigzag, zigzag, large, pin, dot, dashed, dotted, line double. Let's go with zigzag. I don't mind zigzag, and we'll turn this white too. It's kind of weird that it's position top, bottom, left, right. That's weird. Right. Let's say bottom. I like it on the bottom, separating it, even though I don't, now that I see it, I don't really like it as much. The stroke on it is a little bit too thick too. I'm more inclined to use like a 2, although double may look better. Let's go with line double. Or is it not doing it? Let's update this, preview it. As you can see, I'm all about previewing stuff. Yeah, see, so now you can kind of see we've got this issue, because now it looks like it's set wrong because of the fact that I screwed up the settings for the actual height of it. So we'll go back and we'll add in our 50. And this is where it's really good to have a balance of things. Like you set your fonts, you set your spacing. So that looks a little bit better. Could probably go with a little bit more spacing if we had something else that we were going to add in here. But for the most part, it looks a little bit better. I like the fact that it separates it a little bit more with the color. And this is interesting. I wonder if I can change the colors of these on hover. So this has a delete this item. What is this? What kind of item is this? Doesn't say. Oh. This is a testimonial carousel. Oh, interesting. Okay. Cool. 6 items on the carousel. Carousel settings, show dot navigation. Oh, I think that's better for navigation wise. Show dot navigation. I don't think navigation at the bottom is okay. Draggable is okay. Arrow settings. I think we could stick with that. I don't think there's any issue with that. Hover does that. I'm fine with that. I don't think that's too bad. Message. There's a message. There's a name. There's a design. Avatar. Okay, so this uses an avatar? Like, how do you set... Oh, okay. I see how they did this. So they set this up. So this is interesting. So this is actually a testimonial that they set up as a pizza slider, which is kind of cool. Quote is, there's no quote, there's no icon, there's no ratings, and then there's design of it. So do they have like hover? I don't see a hover. Yeah, I don't see hover settings. I do see that you can add this to it. That's kind of neat. Add some lines to it. We'll turn that off. You could add border radius if you wanted to. Actually, don't hate the border radius. I think maybe let's go over to 25. It's not bad. Yeah, that's not bad. How do you change? Here's where I'm getting confused though. How do you change the actual, what? So can you just change this and say this is a dog? So you can. So that's weird. So apparently you just add these as you need to and you can go in and change them. That's okay. It's a little bit weird. So how do you add a new one? So if I like select this and I select the group, which is this, add a block, does that add a, no? Select media, that's just selecting media for this actual pizza. Like that's changing this, and then this is deleting this item. But how do I go in? Oh, screwing stuff up. How do I go in and actually physically add another physical item to this? So it's a row testimonial slider. So I'm confused. How do you add? So you can add in the number of carousels. So let's say we want to do 3. Or we want to do, oh, will it not let you do that? So I see it's letting you design it, but I'm so confused as to how, I mean, I guess, do you add the carousels here? Like if I say 10, number of carousels, let's say 10, number of columns 3, let's say 2. Can add more of a gutter in there. Let's do that. Let's add in 25. Let's keep it even. And then, oh, it puts in defaults. Okay, I see how it works. So it puts in defaults. So if you want to do this, I wonder if you can copy and paste them. So can I copy this? And can I, nope. So copy style, nope. Won't let you copy and paste. Well, that's kind of aggravating. So you'd have to set this up and type this in. It's neat. It's got some function into it. I think it's useful, if nothing more. It's not my favorite though. It's a little bit weird. It's just not my favorite, but it's cool. It's okay. It's not bad. This preview that let me see if I broke it. No, it still works. Although this one is, I think because I screwed up the actual physical dimensions of it, that you don't see this piece in it anymore. It's kind of off the page. See, so I like how this has got like a, I wish that you could go over and change this so that when it hovered, and I'm sure you could, you'd have to build it into columns, but I like where this is going, where you can hover over each of these, and each of these is just a, what is this? Like, how does the background change? Enable overlay. So that's a row. But then how does the background change white? And does it change white? Oh, it changes white. Here it is. On hover, it changes white. So we could turn it around and make it to where it changes blue. And then the only issue with that is that if you do that, I don't think you can set the text to where when it hovers, it also changes a different color. Like, you see how I'm seeing spacing and all that in here? Like, I see all of that, but I don't see anywhere where it gives you the ability to kind of like hover over it and essentially give you any kind of ability to change it. Of course, you could go in and change it with CSS and stuff like that, but that's, my guess is that's also the reason why they kept the color like a white, is because if you go too dark or something, then it just looks funky. And then what is this? This is like an advanced text block. Why is there like a date and time here? Like, what is this? Column. Okay, that's a column. That's a block wrapper. Where is this? Column. Column. Oh, view map. So this is a button? Interesting. Fill, outline. Okay. So it's a button? It's a bit of a weird button, but okay. It's just a standard text button. they use a lot of these headings and separators. Like everything built here is built with headings and separators, which is throwing me off because I'm trying to understand how this works. But I think they use this for like everything. It's like advanced text. Yeah, that's the same icon as this, which is weird because if you're working in a typical builder, you're not used to that. What you're used to is more or less building a header first, then like a text, like I guess like, so you would build like a header and then you'd build a paragraph element, because that's how most people would do that. But with them, they're just using advanced text block, I guess, because it makes it easier. It's interesting. It's an interesting interesting way they're doing it. So this is just a straight, I don't know what this is. This is like a pizza. I guess it's supposed to be a pizza slice, and it's kind of, that's weird. So many designs in here are so weird. But, you know, like I said, this is just me playing with it. Is this just an image, and when you click on it, it does something, and obviously this is a real button with an image below it. So taken, you know, and then this is obviously an image. Is this a background image? No, this is just an image, a straight image. Funny, I would have probably set that as a background image because I would have thought that that would have been better than setting it as an image, but I guess who cares? It doesn't really make a difference. Maybe the background image you could have, well, I guess with the background image you could have this on top of this and you could position this wherever you want to. So that's a little bit weird. But if we go back in, let's go to preview and let's look at this again. Is this just a, yeah, this is a pop-up video, so it's just kind of showing you like Qubely. And you can see more of the pizza is shown here, so it must move over. It's kind of why I'm interested as to why they set this up as, is this just like a 2-column deal? Yeah, it's a column with an image, and then this a column with a block wrapper. Okay, so this could be deleted. Remove that. It looked like there was there something else in this? Is there another block wrapper? Okay, so this has just got text in it. That's a bit weird. I guess they did that because before you had, and I guess this is where it's getting confusing with the whole, you know, Elementor thing and stuff like that. Like they're using block wrappers when to me all you would need is a header in the video. Like, why do you need this block wrapper? Like, what is that there for? Like, what is the purpose of this? And I guess that's what I have trouble wrapping my head around, and that's what I feel like people are going to have trouble wrapping their head around. Like, it took me a while in Oxygen to understand. I mean, if you know basic stuff with divs and things like that, you get to understand the layout. But when you're coming from like Elementor and you're dealing with headers and rows and footer, I mean, not headers and rows, when you're dealing with like columns and rows, it gets very easy to understand the process, and this is just way more complicated for the average user. Because if you're starting to deal with something like a block, like why can't this header, why can't you just take this header and move this header like literally outside of this block? Like what is the purpose of having it here? Like if I move this right here, why do I need this? Like why can't this just be this? And I guess that's my whole point. They add in extra filler, and I have a hard time understanding. It's like, so you guys are essentially trying to make Gutenberg better, but you're making Gutenberg better by adding in more filler crap, and I don't understand why. But I'm sure there's a reason why, and they could probably come back and they'll probably say you don't know what you're doing, and there's a reason why we added that, and yada yada. Maybe because it had that icon in the front, but once again, if you wanted to add the icon, like let's say you go back and you add in the image or whatever, to me, what makes more sense is, I guess if you're going to add the column, because this adds another column, you could just add the image like here. So for instance, you'd select, let's browse all, and let's go into the image, select one of their images, and then you can go in here and we'll choose an image from the media library. Oh, that's cute. All these images are hot linked. Oh, well, that's nice. So this is a hot linked image. So this is just linked to, yeah, it's not even linked to this. It's like, it says it's local, but you can't physically see it. That's a bit weird. So it's like hot linked. I don't know why. I don't know. So you could just take this image and you could technically just move it wherever you wanted to move it. Like if you wanted this above this, you could do it like that. And then you just update it and you'd have your image above it, with this header and this. And then you could add in your spacer and stuff like that. Not bad. I mean, I'm starting, I hope this has helped you. This is just me, looking at it and trying to break it down, like why they did what they did and learning what they did and why they chose what they chose. That's really what the purpose of this is. So I'm hoping that this helps some people as they're looking through it, maybe trying to decide whether Gutenberg is for them. Because if you're looking at this and you're looking at, like, say something like Elementor, I'm 99% sure that Elementor, Oxygen, Brizzy, every other freaking builder on the planet is much easier than this. Like, I can't think of a builder, with the exception of like the builders that use the backend modules, that are harder to use than this. And part of that is because Gutenberg is still not at a level where it's ready to be prime time. It just isn't. People will argue and say that it is, and to me it's just not. It's not there. It needs to be there because I know people want it. They want it for the speed factor, but it's not there for me. Like, I'm not impressed by Gutenberg at all. And see, so funny enough, I played with this and changed the carousels. That's weird. Why does this not change? So change the carousels, and when we go in and preview this, let's see if this comes back. Yeah, so this is like falling off the screen for some reason. I don't know if it's because I moved something, but it's like falling off the screen compared to this, which I guess you could just come over here and you could just do like this. But as you can see too, it also got to the point where, yeah, it's still not showing it on the screen, which is hilarious. It also got to the point where this truck, like, I don't know, the whole entire layout is just, it's not my favorite. So anyway, the whole point of this was just to kind of take you on a guided tour of what Qubely is, just give you an idea. It's your choice whether you want to work with it or not. It would not be my choice from the very beginning, but at the same time, I'm quite sure that this page speed you're going to get with this are going to be excellent. But when you're looking at the overall of just the aggravation of doing something like this, I mean, personally, I think I'd just stick with Oxygen. It just seems like a lot better of a provider for me. Some people like Qubely, and you're going to be okay with it when you choose something like, let's say for instance, I went with, rather than using Qubely, I use Cadence Blocks, which I know a lot of people like. Cadence Blocks is going to work better with Cadence because it was built with Cadence Blocks. Just like not Gutenberg blocks, but Generate Press. Generate Press has its own block system. Generate Press block system is going to work excellent with its own block system also, because it's just going to work better with it. I mean, you've got, I think somewhere it's in here, I think it's Elements, or maybe it's something else, Sections. I don't know where their block system is, but I know I've seen it. But their block system is going to work a lot better with their system. So it says Gutenberg ready, and you can kind of go in and do that. But their system's going to work a lot better with everything else. So you got to kind of like weigh your pros and cons and decide whether you're good with one of these. Like, are you okay with using Qubely? Is it what you really, really want? Or does this just look too boxy for you? I mean, there's stuff that you get in there. Of course, you get separators, which is pretty cool. But you got to kind of fight with it. And as you can see, I've already had to fight with it. Just playing with something, I'm fighting with it to get it to work. Not that I'm a master of this, so please don't take this as, oh, I'm definitely the end all be all. I just think that I can do a lot more damage with Oxygen, and I'll take that page speed hit and I'll go in and I'll optimize it better on the back end than using Qubely, which is maybe faster on the front end with less optimizations. And then that's even up in the air too, because at the end of the day, how much do they add to this that eventually makes it as slow as Oxygen, because they're adding so much crap to it? So pros and cons, weigh your pros and cons. I don't think all of these are bad. I've played with cadence blocks. I think it's pretty good. I think Gutenberg's got a place. It's just not there yet to me. You could use it as a page builder, but I think in limited quantities it's good. Like using it to build blog posts and stuff like that is excellent. Using it to build out full websites, you can do it. It's just not my favorite. That's just my take on it. Anyway, I hope this has helped you, and I will see you guys next time.